How's it going, guys? Peshcats here, and today I'm going to be just doing a quick prediction of what I think will be going onto or off of the restriction list, and as sort of an information source as to why I think some of the changes will happen, or what changes I think will happen. I have here a list of all of the Japan WGP tournament results that took place in 2015, leading up to the World Championships, which I believe happened early January. I'm not 100% sure on that. I have to go back and check. But anyways, we have here a list of all of the winning decks from each of the events. And using this information, we can make some assumptions or predictions about what will be going up on the list or what deserves to come off of the list. So we can just take a look at... Oh, hello, Conclay. Goodbye, Conclay. We'll take a look at some of the decks that were used and how much each of those decks were used. So just right here you can already see quite a bit of Tulavru all over the place. And let's see, what else? What other decks do we have here? We've got a little bit of Idolmaster, a little bit of Love Live, some Nisekoi, Guilty Crown, a couple Symphogears. I actually have the full list at the bottom of like how many times each deck was used. But I'm just going to slowly scroll down this page so you guys can get a good look at everything that was used. Leading all the way up to WGP Worlds. This was the grand final between Tulavru and Kantai Collection. And now taking a look at the total density of all of the decks on this list. As you can see, the most used deck the most topping deck in 2015 is Tulavru Darkness. All of the builds of which were the Yami and Mikon Trans House build. Very, very powerful deck. Clearly the red one was not chosen nearly as much to make these top lists. Right below it we have Nisekoi, which is still very strong despite its restrictions, the choose one of three, Mariko to 1. It's still a very strong, very consistent deck, especially in the hands of a good player. Good players can definitely make the best out of any situation with a Nisekoi deck, despite the nerfs to it. So Nisekoi, still a very, very strong deck, all of which were key builds, by the way, so taking advantage of that Marika. None of them were running the Sweets build, and none of them were running any sort of weapon daughter variant, whether it's one with or without pendants. So they were all just straight up key builds with pendants, Kosaki's, Marikas, the works, etc. And I believe all of them were three-color, red, blue, and yellow, except for one, which was four-color. That was pretty interesting. Going further down the list, we actually have 3 Symphogear decks, which is a deck that just focuses purely on card advantage, efficiency, and compression. And the deck does what it needs to do. And I believe they all went like 8 gates for card advantage, and they just played Weiss Schwarz. 3 Girlfriend Beta. This is the other deck that a lot of players seem to be complaining about, particularly the blue plus red deck with Pumpkin. As you can see here, 3 of these Girlfriend Beta decks topped in the tournaments this year, all of which were the blue and Pumpkin build. Guilty Crown with the Combat Campaign, as well as Index and Railgun with the Combat Campaign, both looking to be very, very strong decks, able to hold their own. So the Combat Campaign put in some work. 2 Cinderella Girls, although one of them was in the WGP Japan, which only had 12 players, but still a good performance there. The 2 builds, I believe, were different kinds of builds. This one was like a mostly blue build, which I think ran like Ronko and Anya for the level 3, while the one that was played in the WGB Japan, which I did a video on at the start of the year or something, this was a blue and red build that went from a like Minami level 1 game into a level 3 game with Anzu, Chieri, and Miku for the like offensive burn abilities. Two Sal's, one of them was the first place WGP winner. He was running the green-blue-yellow build with Yuki Climax combo. The other one was a blue and red build, which revolved around the accelerate mechanic for its level 1 advantage engine. Instead of playing an advantage engine like Yuki or Asuna's Invitation to Party, they instead went for the 1-0 Lisbeth with 0-0 Lisbeth accelerate support for their advantage engine. Two Contai collections. One of them was like way back here. It was like a 4-color build. And the one that won first place at the World Championships this year was also a 4-color build, although the Verni was basically just brought out with the Hibiki, so the player did not have to rely on their color for that. And then lastly, we have a few like random decks. We have the Project Diva F top, we have the Attack on Titan top, Love Live Love Wing Bell build, and Idol Master, regular Idol Master. So these are the decks that topped this year. Now let's talk a little bit about expected restrictions. So first off, we have, of course, Teleru. This is by far the strongest deck in the current game state, and pretty much everybody knows it. So these are just my personal thoughts on what I think could get hit. These are the cards that I think have the most impact on the deck right now. So this is a choose one of three between the 3-2 Yami, 1-0 Mikan Climax combo, and the Mikan Brainstorm. So why do I think these three cards will be on the choose list? Well, okay, first of all, we have the 3-2 Yami. This is the finisher that everybody fears. Even players that have like never gone up against a Teleru deck, they're like, oh man, I heard a 3-2 Yami and he's like the nuts, and I just die to it. And for the most part, yeah, you pretty much die to it, but just an overall extremely strong finisher. The fact that she has hexproof and is able to dig for her own climax, in addition to having a very strong finishing climax combo, is what makes her an extremely strong card. Like, a lot of people like to compare the upcoming 3-2 Arle from Puyo Puyo to Yami, but there are a lot of things that Arle doesn't have. Namely, the hexproof and the ability to dig for her own climax. Those are both very important parts of Yami that Arle lacks. Sure, she can get hexproof from the 2-1 Carbuncle support, but then you're relying on other cards. This Yami does all of that by herself, which is what makes her so strong. The other cards, we have the Mikan Climax combo, as well as the 0-0 Mikan Brainstormer. And the reason I decided to put both of these on the choose list is because they give the deck a lot of search utility and a lot of hand control utility that is just, it just works really well. The Brainstormer is very much overloaded. Being able to have a search Brainstorm on top of a hand fix is extremely strong. Anytime you can have like a Brainstorm, a runner, a hand fix, or a suicider, like a combination of the two on one card is extremely strong. So you look at a card like the level 0 Silica Suicider from Sword Art, that's an extremely strong card. Or the level 0 Runner for Guilty Crown that they got in the comeback campaign, also an extremely strong card. It has a runner and a hand fix mechanic. And this is another card that is a combination of those two very strong mechanics. The 1-0 Mikan Climax combo is just super free, and the fact that it climax combos with the 1-1 Mikan, or not the 1-1 Yami, just makes it even stronger. So I think limiting the Yami and the Mikan would be like the 3-2 Yami and the 1-0 Mikon would be a good choice, because you either have to choose between this very strong finisher in the Yami, or the other option is you're allowed to have both the 1-0 Mikon combo and the 1-1 Yami combo, and run them both at the same time in the same deck. So if a restriction like this were to actually happen, I have here on the bottom what I think would be like the sort of deck layout that we might see instead for a Yami Mikon deck. Something like this. We have the 3-2 Yami, of course, that's probably the most obvious choose one. And for the level 1 game, we would have something like the 1-0 Mikon as a costless beater, supported by the 1-1 Yami to get that hand encore, and then running the stock soul so that the deck can more easily generate stock, so it can use it more liberally for other effects, because you wouldn't have access to the brainstorm. You would want to have some other way to plus in card advantage, so probably something like the 0-0 Mia, for example, that lets you do a resonance to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and add one of them to your hand. That's also a global 500, so it could be another good back row option. So let's say your back row would be like 1 copy of the 1-1 Yami and 1 copy of the level 0 Mia. And in terms of search and hand fixing, there's still this 1-1 search event. Search your deck for 1 housework trait character and 1 transformation character, and then discard 1 card. This is still a good search option, as well as having a discard outlet to replace the level 0 brainstorm. So I don't think the restriction list would... honestly, if this was the restriction list, I don't think it would hurt the deck too much. It would still have a very potent finisher. It would still have a solid level 1 game, but it wouldn't be as quote-unquote free as what it is right now. So this is my thoughts on the Teleru, what I think the Teleru prediction will be. And the other prediction that I came up with was Girlfriend Beta, blue pumpkin build. I think anybody that has played as or against this deck can agree that these 2 cards are just absolutely bonkers. We have the 3-2 Nonoka on play heal, and when it reverses a battle opponent, if you have the 2-1 level support Kokomi on the stage, you can pay 3, discard a card to burn 5. Just a very solid level 3. You can burn them for 5 on the defensive as well, if your opponent isn't careful or doesn't know what she does. And I did die to that the first time I played against the card, I will admit, so oops. But apart from that, the other card that I can see going onto the restriction list is the 1-0 Kokomi with the Stock Soul Climax combo. On attack, if all of your characters are blue, she gets plus 2k until the end of the opponent's next turn, and the Climax combo with, again, the Stock Soul. On reverse, you get to search your deck for a blue character and add it to your hand. So this can be used to search for basically anything you need except for like the pumpkin, or like maybe like level 0 Suicider, because they do run that for a bit of color fixing for the Nonoka right now. But you are able to search for a lot of other really good cards in the blue deck. On the blue side of the deck, such as the 1-0 counter that gives -1 soul, you can search for the level support Kokomi, which in turn can bond into your Nonoka. And the blue deck does have a lot of mill options that allow you to fill up your waiting room, allowing your bond to more successfully go off. I'm talking about cards such as the level 0 Kokomi 3500 on play, you mill 2, and it has hand encore. Just cards like that. There are many ways. You have the brainstorm as well. You have lots of ways to fill up your waiting room with stuff so that you can bond it back out. And the deck, some people also like to run gates for some salvage, as well as more color fixing for red. So if this restriction were to happen, my thoughts on a deck build would be to, instead of running the 1-0 Kokomi, to instead switch over to something like this, running the 2-1 and 1-0 dual climax combo with the gate. Some people like to run the 1-0 right now if they can't afford the Kokomis. But I think the dual climax combo is very strong. The 1-0 is on attack, pay 1, search your deck for 1, I believe, girl trait character, add it to your hand. And the 2-1 is a 7k. It gets 500 for every other girl on the stage, so it reaches 9k with a full board before supports. And on attack with the climax, you get to salvage 1 for free. So both very good climax combos. Like they're both just very solid cards. But I just think the Kokomi is too strong right now for what it does. It basically lets you get 4 stock in 1 turn while also compressing your deck. And the fact that one of those stock is taken from your waiting room will further compress your next deck rotation when you go into a refresh. So just a very, very strong combo overall. And it's a 1-0-6-5 going into your opponent's turn, because the climax combo lets you retain the power until the end of the opponent's turn. So that's just my personal thoughts on those two. Some of the other things that I think might pop up on the list. Some people were saying that they might see Misakuro coming off of the restriction list. Some people are like, Laharl can come off the restriction list. Personally, I don't think Laharl will come off. Are there any other problem decks that I think will get hit on the list? Based on what I can see here, I'm going to go with no. Guilty Crown and Index, I think, are both in a solid spot. The point of the comeback campaign was to bring them back into relevance, and the comeback campaign did just that. So I don't think there's any problem there. Nisekoi already has a restriction list. I think it's a very solid deck, but I don't think they need to hit it any further. I just think that in the hands of a skilled player, Nisekoi is at its highest potential. So I think Nisekoi can stay where it is right now. I think it's in a good spot. Symphogear, personally, I think that the 3 times it topped were more of a surprise factor than anything. The set had just come out, and I think maybe players were just not prepared for it. But it is a solid deck overall, and I just want to say that I don't think that is going to get hit. Cinderella Girls and Sword Art Online, I don't think they had enough of, in terms of like numbers, like consistent numbers, I didn't think they had enough of a showing that they deserve to be hit, either of them. A couple people were saying like, oh, Last Shot Shinon should get hit, and I'm just like, nah, that's not going to happen. I don't think Last Shot Shinon is a card that's deserving enough of a restriction. But and then all the rest were just kind of like, there's Contai Collection. Contai Collection already has a restriction list, but is it possible that they hit it even more? Is it possible that they even hit it in English? Is something that I'm more concerned about. I'm not really concerned about what they do with the Japanese list, whether they take it one step further or keep it the way it is, or even take stuff off or just change it altogether. That's honestly not something I'm too worried about. But yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Rex wanted me to put his predictions in the video, so I'm just gonna plug those in real quick. And there you have it, guys. This has been PeshaCats with my quick ban list predictions. The list will be up in a couple hours of this video being uploaded anyway, so you can just use this to kill 20 minutes while you wait for the ban list to come out. And if you watch this within the first 2 hours of it being uploaded before the ban list comes up, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. And if you're watching this video after the restriction list has come out, then just wanted to let you guys know that I will probably be doing a ban list reaction video, like my thoughts on the ban list. And Top Tier Tiers has invited me to do a collaboration video with them talking about the ban list, so be sure to look out for that in the near future. And until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been PeshaCats, and I'll see you next time.